From floor plans to finishing touches, function to the feeling you get walking into a room. I'm Ashley Morgan, an interior designer with a love for beautiful living and a belief that great design should tell your story. I've spent over 20 years in the industry, and now I'm pulling back the curtain on interiors, sharing insight, inspiration, and the strategy behind well-designed spaces. Expect smart design talk, refined tips, and just the right mix of polish and personality. So pour something sweet and join me for a thoughtful conversation with a generous helping of charm and circumstance. Welcome back to Charm and Circumstance in 2026. I'm your host, Ashley Morgan, and I am excited to get this new season started with you as we also record video. So I thought there was no better way to kick off the new year than by discussing what's out, what lasts, and why timeless always wins. We're starting the new year with a solo episode, and I have thoughts. 2026 is already shaping up to be a fascinating one for design. So today, I'm going to share what I'm seeing, what's coming, and what I think really matters as we move into this new season. And a lot of this started out back in the fall of 2025 as trends for the upcoming year were featured at High Point Market, or as Pantone released their latest color of the year, which turned out to be quite controversial. So if you've never heard of Pantone before, or maybe you're just not exactly sure what it is, it's a corporation that is actually American-based in New Jersey, and they are known for matching colors. So they are used by many different industries, whether it's paper printing or product design. They've even launched a color of the year that was then used by Sephora to launch a new makeup line. Fashion, interior design, product design, plastics, like any industry, honestly, that you could think of uses Pantone so that everybody is utilizing the same color and that they're able to streamline that matching need for consistency. In the year 2000, Pantone started launching a color of the year, which they're not like the Bible for interior design by any means. So this was meant as a means to start a conversation. I think it's also a great marketing ploy, but it's always interesting. And like just about everything in our world lately, it's proven to be quite controversial. And this color of the year that they have chosen for 2026 led to many leaders in our industry putting out personal statements on their thoughts and issues with the color of the year. And it has been dredged through the mud, and it's quite interesting, is all I have to say. I don't see it as that controversial. I was honestly a bit disappointed, just because being Pantone, you almost expect that it is going to be a vibrant, like a very, obvious, colorful color. What they chose instead was the very opposite, a absence of color, otherwise known as white. And so it's actually an off-white color. It is called Cloud Dancer. And there's criticism from it being a racial decision, tone deaf to the times, all manner of things. And I find it quite interesting because I see really everything in our culture, whether it is trends, color of the year, politics, anything. It is so often just a pendulum swing, meaning we go really far one direction for a while, and then everybody gets sick of that, and then we swing back to the very far side, opposite of what we just had. And more recently, we have been seeing all this color drenching everywhere. Like lots and lots of color is being used in the industry. And so I find it kind of a nice little pendulum swing to go with such a neutral and off-white this year, and kind of gives us a break from all of that brightness. And they released a statement that actually explained the decision on the choice here of Cloud Dancer. And so this is what it says. Cloud Dancer, a lofty white that serves as a symbol of calming influence in a society rediscovering the value of quiet reflection. A billowy white imbued with serenity, Pantone's Cloud Dancer encourages true relaxation and focus, allowing the mind to wander and creativity to breathe, making room for innovation. So I thought that was a great explanation for why they would choose this. And we live in a world that absolutely needs some quiet reflection. And I know that's ironic as I deliver a podcast and it's just more talking and more videos and more headphones and all the things. But these are the very things that our world needs a break from every so often. And so I'm here for this off-white color, to be honest. The other thing is the white, or off-white really is what it is. It is such a great supporting actor to any saturated hue, because whether it is featured as the trim color or accent color or whatever it is going to make that bold hue pop so much more. It really supports the purpose of the color, and so it has a role. And it doesn't say, like, it doesn't mean that there should be no color and that this is the year of no color and that we're going back to all white everything by any means and pure minimalism and all of that, because I think maximalism is actually very much on the rise, which has very little white, by the way. So it's just one of those things. It doesn't mean by any means that there is going to be no color in products as they're released or anything like that. When you go to markets, a lot of the furniture manufacturers will feature maybe one piece of furniture that is in that specific color of the year, or a fabric that that includes that color of the year. It's not to say that they still don't have every other possible color, thousands and thousands of colors to choose from, and their standard running line still exists. So it's just another option. It's just a conversation and more marketing, to be honest. So it's not the end of the world, as some in our industry, I think, would like to see it turn into. So with that, I actually wanted to talk about the various colors of the year that Pantone has released, because as I was preparing for this episode and for the blog that I'm releasing this week, as well as some other things, I did my research on the various colors of the year. And so Pantone has created a color of the year since the year 2000. And I find these so interesting looking back. And so oftentimes they're like an ode to whatever the cultural dynamic is at the time. And you can see that in certain circumstances. Others are somewhat questionable, and like I really don't know where they came from. So let's start out with 10 years ago at 2016. And if you're watching this on video, you will actually I will put up the colors on the screen so you can see what we're actually talking about here. And there have been a few years where they have chosen two colors for the year, and I get one of the years. I'm not sure why they chose in 2016 to also feature 2 colors of the year, but they did. All right, so in 2016, they chose a color named rose quartz, which is very much a rose color. It is very like blush, a very muted pink. And then serenity, which is like a periwinkle-ish color, very purpley blue. And these 2 colors together are quite interesting because it screams baby girl, or little girl's room. Um, and they're colors that used together don't they would be really difficult, honestly, to use anywhere together, um, unless it was a little girl's room. Like, you could, of course, in fashion, you have so much more freedom in colors because it's so temporary, much more temporary than product design or interior design because you're wearing something for an event or just for the day. And then you get to change it up. Whereas interior design, it's got to last and you're going to look at it for quite some time. So, anyways, these 2 colors together are just, I don't know, interesting. Very like homey, nurturing, maybe. I don't know really what the intent was. So then in 2017, they go to a color named greenery, and it is green. It is a very bold green. It is not a green that I would immediately be pulled to by any means. It's like a really hard green to use, to be honest. It could be used for sure, and I would never wear this green. I'm gonna tell you that. I would. I could incorporate it into an interior. It would have to be just right, though, and it would absolutely need to be more of an accent color. I could see it as a wall color, possibly, but more of like in a show home type piece, not maybe a color that anybody had to live with day in and day out. So then in 2018, they go with ultraviolet. So it is purple. It is strong purple. It is like, I don't know, very Oompa Loompa purple. And purple is an interesting color. It's just very loud, I think. And I think it's one that you can only take in so many doses. That one's a fascinating one. And again, that's a hard one to use across the board because people are going to have strong feelings about it. And a lot of people are not going to be pulled to purple anything. The next one for 2019 is Living Coral. So it is a coral, more on the orangey side. I mean, it suits for any coastal areas, very Florida. But I don't know, it's very bright and bold and orangey. That's the best thing I have to say about it. I can't imagine myself again using it in mass quantity. It would be a lot. So then in 2020, and we know what happened in 2020, but of course this was decided before the pandemic hit. And this is classic blue, is very royal blue and very similar to wildcat blue, if I do say so myself. It's a beautiful blue. It is very bold. Again, you're seeing this trend of these bold colors and why an off-white would be strikingly different than what everyone has come to expect from Pantone. But it's a great blue. It's, again, also something that would have to be used in limited quantity. Although, to be honest, the color drenching situation, I could see this blue used for that. You could have an entire room painted in this blue and then, do different colors with the rest of the interior. So it's a great one. It's probably one of my favorites. Then in 2021, so this would have been decided through the year of 2020 and would have been released, I don't know, November-ish of 2020. And so this is a year that they released 2 colors, and it's very obvious what happened here. So we're fighting COVID, and they release Ultimate Gray. So it is just gray. It's not a very light gray. It's more of a medium colored gray. And then, and obviously that explains just the gray, very gray world that we were living in at the time. And then they also released a color called Illuminating, which is a very bright yellow. And so the combination of the two, I see, you know, a color that very much reflected reality at the time, and then a color that reflected hope of what was to come and working our way out of the pandemic. So those two made sense. I do really love gray and yellow together, by the way, very much in fashion. I could see it in certain interiors, but this yellow is very, very bright. So it's a harder one in interiors. That would be a hard one to live with day in and day out. But it could absolutely be used as a supporting color. Then in 2022, Very Perry is the color. Again, another purple. This is maybe more Barney-esque purple. I hate to say that, but it really is. And I just don't like this purple at all. I don't know why we need purple as the color of the year. Maybe because it is the combination of red and blue, and so it just kind of like represents everything. I don't know. I'm not big on the purple. I'd rather have white, to be honest. So then in 2023, I think this one's my favorite. So this is Viva Magenta. It's very much a magenta, a nice red-ish, warm, cozy magenta color. And this could absolutely be anywhere and everywhere. It's bold, for sure. It is very much opposite of a neutral, but would be beautiful with a neutral. And it looks so fabulous with each of the next 3 colors of the year, too, ironically. So then in 2024, the color is Peach Fuzz. It is peach. I mean, I don't like peach. The irony too, and this is some of the controversy with the current Cloud Dancer off-white color, is that 2024, 25, and 26 are all technically, I guess, skin tone colors because we've got peach, and then we move into 2025, which is Mocha Mousse. So it is very much a kind of a light brown color. It's not like a dark chocolate by any means, which is really my preferred brown to go to. It's much softer than that. So anyways, they have gone down this path the last 3 years of supposed skin tone colors, which some have equated with racial opinions, I guess. I don't see it as that. I just see each of these colors as very much supporting colors, and different than what they have been selecting most of the time. These bold, vibrant colors that really just take over and overpower any of these other supporting colors. So that's it. So that's the last 10 years of the colors of the year. And then here is Cloud Dancer, our off-white color that I would absolutely use. And I have used. I had a project where the clients had red walls, and it was overwhelming. Red walls here were so popular back in the 90s. And so a lot of people had them. It's really dated now, and it was just a hard transition. It really enclosed the space. So in the new design in that project, I really wanted to go the opposite direction. And so I painted the walls an off-white color. It wasn't Cloud Dancer specifically, but it was very similar. And then all the color came through in the furniture and the fabrics, and art on the walls. And so it was just much more relaxing and I think refined. Everything that Pantone described the Cloud Dancer color as, just more quiet and peaceful. And so I'm here for Cloud Dancer. And again, I just really do think it's like a pendulum swing. I'm sure they knew it was going to be controversial, which just keeps them in the media more. And so that's what every company, I guess, wants. So mission achieved. So something else that I think is important as we go into 2026 that we're going to see more and more of is due to the economical shift in our country. And so this is a combination of inflation and just where the economy sits, this huge AI transition and fear of what that leads to, job replacement, things like that. And also the tariffs that have been imposed. And that has specifically impacted the interiors industry and building industries. So I think that as the economy continues to shift, the design industry will see a quiet but significant pull away from disposable trend cycles because they just seem so wasteful. And it is very much those are so rooted in our consumer society where it's this fast, quick, easy design, Amazon, all of that, where it is made from cheaper materials, synthetic materials that are not going to biodegrade. They're with us forever, just like cheap fashion. And so there's a sustainable story to that as well, that we are literally contributing all of this material that people are only using for such a short period of time, then getting rid of, and then it's sitting there for forever in the trash in the landfills. And so that's happening with design as well, where it's almost this cannibalism of Amazon into selling furniture materials that are made to be almost like the dupe of real furniture, quality furniture. And then, of course, after they are received and you can really see them in person and see the difference in the details and the stitching and the fabrics, how they feel, how they look, how the piece of furniture is constructed, or that it's like literally made of plastic instead of wood. Different details like that. And I think, those only last a short period of time. They start to fall apart. And again, then they're put on the curb and they don't go anywhere. They cannot be recycled or reused because they're just synthetic materials. I also think that as the economy continues to change, that clients are asking more questions, better questions, and they want longevity just as much as they want aesthetics. It's just as important as it should be because interior design is a huge investment into your home. And so, of course, the goal should be that these features should last 20 years or more. And when you think about it, antiques. So, and I'm not talking about like the 70s for sure, but I'm talking about the true antiques, the 100-year-old pieces, right? And longer. These are solid wood, like well-constructed, hand-built, handcrafted pieces. And I think that there is more of this push back to that level of quality. And with current tariffs and this push for American manufacturing, that is still how a lot of our furniture is made today in America. Of course, higher end pieces. But even the more affordable pieces are still wood and they're made quality, like they are going to last. It is not just the quick and easy Amazon purchase. So fast design is feeling tired. And that's a good thing because people are becoming more thoughtful with their budgets and more interested in creating something that is truly going to last. In this kind of market, timeless design always outperforms trendy choices, both emotionally and financially. Okay, so let's talk about layering now. This was something else that really stood out to me, I think, as we go into this year. And layering, it's not anything new, of course. But I think there is this rise in maximalism. And maximalism is a lot of layering. Sometimes it is well done, and a lot of times it's not, to be honest. And layering is definitely an art form. It is not something that just comes naturally to a lot of people. But I do think that it is such a great element of timeless design because whether you are layering colors, patterns, or textures in an interior, when you have gone down the road a couple years or whatever it may be, and you just want a refresh, you want to change things up just a little, layering now allows you to pull out one of those elements, one of those colors, one of the textures, and replace it. And so it totally changes the dynamic, and you're not replacing everything. So it really supports this idea of timeless design. And the other element of layering that I want to discuss, this was kind of a twofold thought, is that as you approach design in a logistical manner, design doesn't have to happen all at once. You don't have to attack a project in completeness. Now, ideally, that's probably the better way to do it, but we can't all do that. I've been there too. So some of the most beautiful homes that we've worked on have been handled in this way, room by room, layer by layer. And I want to encourage you, if that's you, if you're not ready for a full renovation, you can still move forward. Whether it's just updating lighting or refreshing furnishings or tackling one hard surface decision at a time, small, consistent investments in your home will move you forward towards that bigger vision. Design is a process, and it should support your lifestyle, your timeline, and your financial goals. So here's to 2026. More beauty, more clarity, and more design that works just as hard as you do. I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for joining me on Charm and Circumstance. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and follow along on Instagram because charm is personal and circumstance is what you make of it.